Hockey for Her platform is really important to the organization, and it's designed to highlight areas of our game that are unique to women, and to spotlight connections for all women to be able to connect to our sport, whether you're a new fan, a hockey expert, play the sport, etc. What we wanted to make sure, that you guys at home that are watching knew is that, the Hockey for Her platform is really a way to foster a community for women seeking to find out more information about our sport, as well as connect with other women who share the same enthusiasm for hockey and the CBJ. So speaking of women, hockey, and enthusiasm, we could not think of a better moderator for tonight's webinar than Alison Lukan. Alison may be familiar, yes, Alison may be familiar to some as she was one of our featured guests for Hockey for Her back in 2018. Alison is a freelance writer who covers the NHL and the Columbus Blue Jackets. She specializes in data-driven storytelling in the world of hockey, which is super unique. She has covered the Blue Jackets for 9 years, writing for Fox Sports, Yahoo Sports, and the team website, among other outlets. She's born and raised in Ohio, has a degree in leadership studies from the University of Richmond. So Alison, I'd like to welcome you back to Hockey for Her and pass the puck to you as tonight's moderator. Alison, the rink is all yours.
Well, thank you, Andy. And if you talk about passing the puck, there's a reason I play defense and not forward when I play. So I will try my best to receive that puck. And thank you and thank the organization for allowing me to be part of this. This is such a special night, and I don't want to take any more time about myself. I want to welcome our very special guests, someone who is a pillar of the hockey community here, someone who is leaving a mark in so many ways, someone who everyone I'm sure on this Zoom meeting knows tonight. And that is Janelle Foligno. Janelle, welcome. We're so glad to have you.
Thank you. I was expecting you to say Nick.
I was going to say your husband, Nick, is here as well.
I like that intro, Alison. I like that a lot.
Nick Foligno, husband of Janelle Foligno.
Yes. Exactly. And before we get to you, we have a ton of questions. We thank all of our guests, attendees who have submitted some questions as well to add to Andy's comments. If questions come to mind as you're enjoying our conversation tonight, please do feel free to pop those in the Q&A in Zoom. We will try to get to some of those. And also, depending on what you're seeing in your Zoom in the top right corner, there is a view button that will allow you to toggle between speaker and gallery if you'd like to see everyone who's talking all at once, or just whoever's speaking at the time. But enough housekeeping. Janelle, this has been such a significant year for you. You have always shared so prominently the story of your daughter, Milana, and you've turned that into a book that has become an outreach of not just her story, but a story of heart health and the power of those who battle through those journeys. How did this idea come to you? Share this whole foundation that you've created over, this pandemic seemed to calm so many things, but you really flourished and brought so many things to life.
Yeah, thank you. I think I often say that it came about organically because it was never something that I decided on and then followed steps to get to. It was something that came from nothing and sort of tumbled into something else each step that it took. So Milana had to undergo her second open heart surgery 2 years ago now. And when she was recovering from her surgery, I wrote her a poem in my phone. I often write when I want to speak out my emotions and stuff. I often say that I'm better at writing than saying it out loud. So I would write a lot, I would journal, and I just wrote her a poem kind of as if she was writing it and how I would want her to feel about her experience and what she had gone through, because being older now and undergoing open heart surgery was a lot different than when she was a baby, because she was prepared for it and she knew what was coming. So that was a little bit more difficult for me to plan for, to make her feel comfortable. And so writing that poem was a way for me to heal in a way. It was a cathartic type situation, I guess. And I wanted her to have it. And so it lived in my phone, and I didn't quite know how I wanted to get it to her. I was thinking originally I would print it and put it in a frame and put it in her room, and it just really was small like that. And then I ended up meeting an illustrator that I then emailed and asked her, like, hey, would you bring my poem to life? And then I thought, I want to make a book for Milana. And that's how it started. And then in talking with Nick and family members, they were like, I think more people would want this story, and I think you can impact more people. So then we decided, okay, we're going to print more books, and whatever money we make from it, we will donate to heart-related organizations. And then it kind of snowballed in our minds, like, well, if we're going to do that, like we've known since our personal donation a few years back, we've known we wanted to continue to give, and we didn't quite know how. And so this was a transition kind of to be like, okay, well, let's then make our own foundation. We wanted it to be cross-border so we can impact in Canada, where we're from, and then also on the US side. And so then the idea for the foundation came. So it all just kind of followed without really a plan. But in the end, it really worked out well. And it's been so well received. We feel really blessed, and we just feel honored to be able to make an impact and try to help as many families as we can.
And Janelle, you are humble to a fault, but we also know a ton of work went into this, and you've shared, we've talked before, even some of the thought that went into the marketing of this, making sure you had a social platform. What are some of the intentional things you're doing? I know you've given books to some hospitals and the marketing efforts that you're doing. How are you really making sure that this message gets to the people that need to hear it, the people who are maybe going through this journey on their own as well?
I think I'm just trying to put myself in the shoes of somebody who might be looking for something like that. And in a sense, I am in those shoes because I'm a heart mom. And so there is quite an online presence of heart moms. I remember when Milana was first diagnosed, it was big on Facebook, where there were a lot of Facebook groups that I would follow and speak to different parents and moms through those platforms. And so I'm just trying to translate it in a way where if somebody is out there looking for advice or heartfelt type messages, that's how they could find us, I guess. And
information too.
Yeah, information on the research and doctors. And I feel like my brain is spinning faster than what I can put out there. There's so many things we want to do that we slowly have to organize and roll out. But a big part of what we want to do is try to give information because that's how it started for us. We were introduced to somebody who then put wheels in motion for us to meet the doctors that eventually performed Milana's surgery. And we wouldn't have known about them had we not been in contact with that person. So we want to be that for somebody if we can. And so it's really just happening as things come to us. We just put it out. Luckily, Nick's sisters are both in marketing, so they're trying to help me a little bit because I don't have a background in that at all. If it were up to me, I probably wouldn't have even done like as much social media as I have, but they were like, no, you have to now. So they've been really helpful. And yeah, we're just trying to share our story and make a difference as we go along, I guess.
Nick, this is something that we have the opportunity, people in my role, to see more of you all behind the scenes than just what maybe fans see on the ice. And maybe a fan sees, this is Janelle, this is your wife, this is the mother of 3 wonderful children. What can you tell people who are attending tonight? Who is Janelle? How powerful is this experience? What strength brought her to this place to be a published international author?
Well, she has bad eyesight for one. She ended up with me, but no, I think you could hear it in the way she speaks, and I think that's what obviously drew me to her, is that she wears her heart on her sleeve and she cares so much about people. And I think just going on that, we met young. I mean, I was 18, she was 19. I don't want to tell her people that she was older. I might have screwed up just now, but we've been on this journey together, and it's been so neat for me to see all the intangibles that she had at a young age now being put to use, and, becoming a wife and having to sacrifice a lot for my job. But then now having her own, and in the sense of raising 3 incredible children, it has a lot to do with her. But then also she values herself in that she's got an education. She worked extremely hard for that and wants to put that to good use, and has found a way through some pretty difficult and trying times to create this platform that she can now use she's a teacher, that's what her profession is. And now she's using that to kind of help the rest of the world and teach and inspire. And it inspires me, it inspires our children. So, that's who she is. She's a person that is selfless, puts herself under everyone else, I think that's what a lot of mothers do in general, but has been a rock in our family and is starting to now show that to the world. And I'm so thrilled. I mean, this is, as much as I get, probably talked about the Hearts Playbook, this is her baby. It's another one of her babies. And it's so fun for me to be on the side of cheerleader, and I don't get me wrong. I'm right in there. I'm going to the post office and dropping off books. I'm an errand boy now, but I just love that her passion. I can see her passion. Like she sees what I have for hockey and what we do together. Her passion for this and why she's doing it. And, just to see the look on our daughter's face, who now is understanding her journey and is proud of herself, from something so scary. That was the biggest thing I think as parents we wanted to teach her was, you should be proud of this. Absolutely. It was scary, but you got through it. You're a strong woman because of it, strong young girl because of it. And we wanted her to have that. And we're starting to see that develop in her. And it's probably the most beautiful thing. And we hope that this, our foundation or anything will help inspire that next child, whether it be a boy or girl or another family, to feel that way as well.
And Nick, I tease you all the time. Milana should have her own TV show or YouTube channel. What can you share with us?
She would love that, by the way. She would love that.
I am here for it. What can you share with us? How is she doing? How is her life right now?
She is a 7-year-old going on 20. She's doing awesome. I think this pandemic has allowed us time, especially me, time to be around my kids and just to watch them grow and to see their personalities. And there's been a lot of us time, so, but she is a beautiful 7-year-old, is in 2nd grade, is enjoying her time and is keeping her younger brothers humble. But it's just so great to see her healthy and thriving. And I think as parents, that's all you ever want to see out of your kids, regardless of whatever health issue they may have. You just want to see them doing well. And we can truly say that she is. So we know how many people we have along the way to thank because of that. And it's just really enjoyable to see it and hopefully for many years to come.
Janelle, as the teacher that you are, we did have some questions from our attendees tonight. Obviously, the celebrity that you both enjoy has afforded you opportunity to really raise awareness for these efforts and for the cause that you're raising support for. Our attendees wanted to know, as a parent, how do you manage that lesson with your kids? What do they think dad does? How do they think dad is just dad versus maybe what a fan thinks when they see him walking down the street or in a restaurant or after a game?
Yeah, I think now that they're getting a little bit older, they're starting to understand it a little bit more. When they were younger, I think it was two completely separate things. I didn't bring them to as many games when they were little either, just because of the timing of them. And with Milana, we didn't really go out in public as much with her immune system and stuff at first. And so I think it was completely separate. Like, they knew dad went to work. I don't think they fully grasped all of it. But now that they're getting older and they've fallen in love with the game of hockey and they love watching Nick play, but it's funny to see too, like, their favorite players on the team aren't necessarily.
I was just going to say that.
Who are they? We would like to know.
Seth Jones, Cam Atkinson. I mean, I think I'm like 22nd, 23rd on the list. So they really like Elvis Merslakens and Jonas Korpisalo, I think for their names more than anything. It's pretty funny.
But I think them growing up this way, and we try to have a lot of communication with our kids just in all aspects, but also with this, because he will get approached in public and stuff. And of course, he's always graceful, and we want him to be. And so he's taking pictures and stuff. And the kids at first, they don't quite, I don't think, understand it. But now Milana will I think so-and-so wants an autograph. And she's kind of working. She's like
the room.
She's
PR.
Like the agent. Yeah, she's like the agent, and they want to get it in the photos sometimes. And so, but one big thing that we've always tried to instill in them, and Nick had that growing up with his dad playing hockey, was just how blessed we are to live the life that we're living because of what Dad does and that platform that he has. And so just trying to instill them to be grateful and thankful, and just to always, I don't know, I guess be humble through it all. Like, I don't know if you would add anything to that. And just, but they love it. They talk about it at school. And like I said, it's more so the other guys, all the uncles. They have got like so many uncles because the guys are always.
They're harder on me than torts. Trust me. I'm home after a loss. It's never fun. You lost. What happened? So yeah, they're a little too educated, I'd say, right now. We gotta pull back the highlights, I think.
I want to make sure we put a bow on the Hearts Playbook and the work that you're doing there, Janelle. You know, all of us have personal causes, battles, or journeys that we've seen loved ones face. What can you share with those of us who maybe aren't as familiar with concerns of the heart disease? Where should we be going for information? What should we know about the state of making sure that those who are battling those kinds of conditions are getting support? We can support more research. How can we all get involved more?
Yeah, so I think most of us are familiar with the American Heart Association. They've got such a wonderful presence in mostly adult type heart disease and stuff, and they're bringing in the CHD, which is congenital heart defect, as well. And there are so many different smaller organizations that work for the awareness of congenital heart defects and disease. And I think in the last few years, they're really building up momentum. And so creating the Hearts Playbook for us was just to try to help that cause, and not to say that we don't want to separate ourselves from any of that. We want to get right into, like, we're involved with the American Heart Association. We're involved with an organization called Conquering CHD, and we want to learn as much as we can about all of the organizations that can surround, because, you know, it wasn't really on our radar before our daughter was born and diagnosed. And I feel bad in a way about that, because then you start to realize how common it is. It's actually the #1 birth defect. It's the most common birth defect of all birth defects. And 1 of 4 children that are diagnosed are actually pretty critical. And so just in coming to that world now, we just want to try to create as much awareness and support. And so I think either through our organization or some of those organizations that I mentioned, the biggest thing from what I've talked with some of these leaders of these organizations is the awareness, and also, like you mentioned, the research, because even just in the last 5 to 7 years since Milana's first surgery, there's been so many advancements, and to try to stay on top of that, and we want to try to relay that too. And so it's ever changing, and the technology is incredible. We've been able to be on calls with some surgeons and doctors, and just to see the amazing work that they continuously do, and they're not stopping. And so we don't want to stop either. And so I guess I would just say to find one of those organizations and follow it in a way that you feel comfortable. And, you know, even just promoting a healthy, heart-healthy lifestyle, which is another thing we try to do. Like, we try to share healthy recipes and stuff like that, because if you're not necessarily in a position to help financially, maybe you can help spread the word on how important it is to live a heart-healthy life, to protect yourself and your children, and just try to keep our hearts as healthy as possible as we age. And
I've been a guinea pig on a couple of these heart-healthy recipes, so you're welcome for some of the ones that didn't work out. So the ones that are good are approved by me, so you know they taste good.
Yeah, the one this morning, the breakfast one this morning
was good, but
didn't, yeah.
But and I was just going to add that, and just talking, I mean, we have got to know, obviously, a cardiologist in Boston, and the work that he's doing, they're actually trying to figure out a way now through everything. I guess the world's going to video games in a sense, and they're actually finding a way to be able to do the surgery via almost a video game type thing, and the surgeon can go in and perform it and see how that valve might work before they even go inside the body, so that there's no more exploratory surgery. It's they go in, they cut down the OR time, which all doctors and all hospitals are fighting for OR time. So just in that, they're able, just the advancements in that, just the research, and that is so inspiring. And you know, he said that they all say it. I mean, children's pediatrics in general, especially in the heart, are really underfunded. You know, the funding usually goes to adults, and that's where all the money is and a lot of the problems. But there's so many children now, and as she said, 1 in 4, and that's where the need is starting to come. And if we can help raise that awareness and the research that's being done, our daughter wouldn't have survived 5 years earlier had they not done the research in that span to keep her alive. So we know how critical it is, and it's something that we want to make sure we continue to push going forward.
Awesome. Well, we encourage everyone to check out theheartsplaybook.com. On social media, you can find all the contact information there. But this is Hockey for Her, so we would be remiss if we didn't talk about those two topics. Nick, we already talked about how awesome Janelle is. I'm going to point the finger at myself and also to maybe people who aren't able to be behind the scenes. I think it's easy for people to say, oh, there's the players' wives or there's the players' girlfriends. What are we missing when that group of women or partners is just classified that way? What is so special about these partners? How integral are they to the success of someone like yourself, someone like a coach, someone who's around the team?
Well, they wear 900 different hats. They're the motivational speaker. They're the ones that, you know, put an arm around you or give you a kick in the butt when you need one, you know, or they're the people that really allow you to go out and perform. When things, you know, Torts actually says it, and it's one thing I really respect about him. When things are good at home, it's amazing how you're able to do your job and at the rink. And they are such a part of that, whether it's a girlfriend, a wife, you know, a fiance or whatever. It's amazing how they have allowed us to have the success when they're close, even in the room. You know, it's amazing. That's one thing I always told Janelle, and she's done it. I think it's just her personality in general, but I want our team to be as close off the ice. So the girls, especially, they need to be like sisters in a way, and get, you know, and then have that camaraderie so that when the guys are together, that's how we feel. We all get together as a group. And it's just, it's amazing how important that is. And it's so undervalued, I think, and underappreciated for what they bring and how they support us and provide. I think a lot of times it's, you know, the back seat that they have to take in some aspects isn't really a back seat. It just looks that way because like you said, all the lights on us, which it shouldn't be. But what they do behind the scenes is actually more important to our success a lot of times. And I thank her every day. And I, you know, I'm 14 years in the league. 14 years.
Yeah.
Hopefully a lot longer. But, you know, and I wouldn't have done that without having her. With everything we've gone through, the amount of pressure that she's been put on just from our own personal, you know, things that we've had go on in our lives, you need a strong woman to be able to handle that. And I can honestly say that a lot of hockey players owe it to their spouses or significant others because they are definitely the reason why we're able to get on that ice every day.
Awesome. Well, I think that we should probably shift to hockey. And Nick, I didn't want you to be alone. I think I have another special guest who might be able to join us to talk about hockey. Are they here? Let's see if they're here.
Unfortunately, they haven't shown up yet.
Oh, they're coming. Okay. Well, maybe they'll show up. Maybe I've just played my hand a little too early. Then I'll pick on myself. Speaking of importance of behind the scenes, let's talk about it. What does the media get wrong about the importance of the people who are not the players on the ice in the jerseys, and what stories should we be telling? And that's open to both of you. And if I write these next 10 stories over the next 10 weeks, I'll give full credit.
Yeah. Well, I think like anything as athletes, we're people. And I think a lot of times our job absolutely it needs to be highlighted, but there's just so much more that goes into it. And I think you do a great job. I think our media here in Columbus actually does a great job of finding out more. I think it's just the market that we live in. I think people in general in Columbus care a lot about the person, not just the athlete. They want to know what kind of person they're getting. And you know, it's great what you do on the ice, but are you a good person? Do you care about our community? Are you just here for a flash in the pan, or do you want to stay and be a part of Columbus? And so I think that sometimes the media forgets that there's a human behind the athlete. And I know it's our job and we get paid handsomely to perform, but you know, there's so much more that goes into a person. And as you can see, I mean, our lives are one of 700 in the league. And so many people go through so many things or have or have so many things that they care about and really mean just as much as hockey to them. And it's really neat when you start to dissect and pull back some layers on people that maybe you have wrong because they're guarded with media. They don't quite, they're not comfortable and doing that. Oh, well, look at that. So I think that's really what I would like to see done more is get to know the people. I think people would appreciate that too. When you're a fan, I know this, I grew up a hockey fan and we all have at some point. What's greater than what they do on the ice is finding out you have similarities off the ice. You have the same kind of, oh, wow. For a lot of people, you have a child with congenital heart defect and you have an instant connection. I want to cheer for you, and it's amazing how you start to understand people a little bit better. And I think it helps grow the game because not everyone falls in love with a player or the game. They might the game. They might fall in love with the player and what they represent. And I think that's such an important thing too.
Well, I told you I'd bring reinforcements. We are blessed to have another prominent part of the community, someone who is an attorney, a mother of two, Natalie Atkinson. Welcome. And we're thankful to have your husband, Cam, join us as well. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Well, we were just talking about the two topics of hockey for her. And I think we have a couple polls since we have all of you here. Jim, if you can launch the first poll, if you are an attendee, you can vote. NHL team is your least favorite. And if the answer is not on that list, you can type your answer in the Q&A. I'll try and manage it. And we're going to ask Nick, Janelle, Natalie, and Cam to come up with their favorite story about the team that gets the most votes. So if everyone can vote, we'll give that a second.
Hi, Cam and Nat.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
I missed you.
You guys are looking beautiful.
Far away. So close yet so far.
So we did have a question from the audience while we're waiting for these poll results to run. Nick, were you truly upset at the pizza practical joke?
Oh, for like about 5. The funny thing about that is who was I with at the time? I was trying to like get my boys fed or something.
Oh, we had a babysitter
Yeah,
here because I was out with one of the kids at their activity and he had to do this interview. So the babysitter came to take care of the other two.
And these guys showed up like real early. And so I'm trying to get my sons fed and they're in my way. And I should have picked it up like way before. They got it angled. They're like, oh no, this angle's perfect. It's the front door. I'm like, why would they want to sit at the front door? Anyway, so at first I was actually pissed, like at about 3-4 pizzas in. And then I realized after that, and then I was playing, I tried to, I was mad, but Cam got me good. I'll give him that. And
the best part.
Texting in the
I'll get him back. I'll get him back.
Cam,
You
go
don't need
ahead.
You already got me, so I got you.
That wasn't my own prank. Now I'm going to do my own prank. Get ready.
Cam, how much planning went into that prank? That was pretty good.
Honestly, it was pretty spur of the moment thing. Pretty quick. Romeo's Pizza actually had the idea of doing it. I was like, let's do this. And then of course I had to get permission from the boss, Janelle.
Yeah, that's what my wife double crossed me. That's messed up.
She wanted nothing to be a part of it. She just gave me the green light.
I was glad I was out of the house.
I think Nick is really mad. We're going over there right now. It's like, oh my God.
I was at one point. I was. But I was proud of you. I was really proud of you. That was really, really clever. I was loving it.
Well, it should probably come as no shock to anyone on this call that Pittsburgh received the most votes as the least favorite NHL team of those in attendance tonight. So Cam, we've already made Nick and Janelle talk quite a bit. I'll turn it to you and Natalie first. Do you have a favorite memory or story involving Pittsburgh or the Pittsburgh Penguins?
Do you have one?
I think my favorite was when Janelle and myself and a bunch of the girls drove to Pittsburgh for that playoff game to support the guys. That was just a fun road trip. And I just miss times like that, getting to be with, all the wives and girlfriends on the team and cheering on the guys. It's so different now. So that was a great memory.
I remember that. That's good.
That's a good memory. For me, I would say probably when we beat Pittsburgh for our first ever playoff win in Columbus Blue Jackets history. Luckily, I was a part of when Matt Calvert scored. One of those things you're going to remember forever, just because you know how the play kind of developed, and then the celebration after. But I remember, obviously, once Matty Calvert scored, he kind of went down the ice as fast as he could, and I chased him and I tackled him, and we were saying a bunch of crazy things in the aisle that I'm not sure if it's appropriate to say, but one of those moments that you're going to remember for the rest of your life.
Foligno's favorite Pittsburgh or Pittsburgh Penguins memory?
I'll let you think. I was going to echo what Nat said, but I remember we got booed when we were there. I don't think we were dumb enough to wear our jerseys.
No,
we should wore your jerseys.
We didn't. We were still like excited when we scored and stuff. So people quickly figured out that we were not there for the Pittsburgh Penguins. And so I don't think they were very nice to us around us. So it was kind of, in a way, you kind of like that, because if you score, you're kind of rubbing it in their faces. But yeah, I don't know. I was just so sick of the Pittsburgh Penguins, because Nick, even in Ottawa, would often be matched up against Pittsburgh. And then here it felt like they kept getting matched up against Pittsburgh in the playoffs. And so I'm glad to not see them.
Yeah. I mean, there's been some epic battles against that team, obviously, with just the hate that we have on for them.
Wait, did you fight Sidney Crosby?
No.
I
Doobie did.
thought you did. Oh,
Yeah.
I liked that too.
Yeah. We all liked when Doobie fought Sid. That was great. No, I think there's probably scoring against them to beat them or give us our first home win was an amazing feeling. Just to share that with the crowd and our own fans was awesome. I think that team too was just, we came together at such a cool time. It was a bunch of misfits. I said we weren't really sure what we were, and we were growing as this group. And like Cam said, when Matt Calvert scores in that series 2 to win, and I was injured at the time, so I wasn't even able to celebrate with the guys. I was up in the nosebleeds or in the press box, like jumping up and down by myself. And I remember being able to actually share in that moment with the guys in Game 4 was just so gratifying for me and just for the fans. I mean, seeing the people and the reaction, I think some people still say it's one of the loudest times it's ever been in Nationwide Arena. So to be able to be a part of that, I think Cam and I both feel pretty special and grateful for that.
Awesome. Well, we have another poll for our audience. We have people on this Zoom tonight of all levels of hockey understanding, from media member who knows nothing, to an experienced fan, to professional players, obviously. So if you are an attendee, please vote for which NHL rule you think.
Can my wife vote for this one?
Well, while they vote, I'm going to ask each of you, if you are NHL commissioner. All right. You can make one change in the league. It can be anything. It can be travel rules. It can be an on-ice rule. It can be anything. What are you going to change? Who would like to go first?
I already have mine.
Go.
I would get rid of offsides.
There it is.
Just because I think it would, the league is always looking for more offense and more scoring. I mean, you even saw it a couple games ago when we were in Carolina in overtime. I mean, they were off by, a half inch, but still, I mean, obviously we're happy about the situation and how obviously the end result played out. But, for me, I think I'd be hanging all the way by the goal. And looking for.
I'd be covering your ass in the back.
No, I mean, I would get rid of it. I'd allow more guys to kind of get lost and leave the zone. And, I think obviously, from an offensive standpoint, and I'm sure Nick can attest, like the D that's on you is going to have to respect what you're doing. So they're going to, they're either going to stay in the zone and hope that the play isn't going to get out, or they're going to obviously chase you down. And I think it just allows for more, plays to develop and more opportunities.
Natalie, do you have a pick? You can make any change at all in the league. Any change.
Gosh, I I don't know. It definitely wouldn't be something that complicated.
I feel like from our side, it would be like more days off or afternoon days. Like I just thought it would be nice to have like weekend afternoon games more than.
Yeah. Or maybe have like a wives and girlfriends trip on the team plane.
It's a very like spouse response. So use it more.
I don't know. I don't know. That's a hard one for me because I'm a traditionalist. So I like, yeah, I have a hard time with rule changing, but I think the one that bothers me just because it's so, whatever the way the ref feels, it's the over the glass call, the puck over the glass. I think they should get rid of it. So,
Like
I mean,
the delay of game.
yeah, like I just, there's so many times where it's over the glass and they don't call it, or there's like, it could have been. And I don't think people understand. And half the time we got guys putting their arms up way, it just looks bad. So I haven't really liked that rule for a little while. So that'd probably be mine right now.
Yeah.
Let the record, go ahead, Cam.
We're going to be like, oh my God, I'm hemmed into the zone. I'm going to just flick it out. You know, I'm going to flip it over the glass. That's not really how it works. But
I did that in Edmonton one time.
I'm a fan of netting all the way around the rink because I always get so scared that the puck's going to hit the boys.
And it's so much.
Yeah.
Let the record show Janelle knew the name of the rule and Nick did not.
Yeah.
Just let the record show. Just throwing that out there. Delay the game. Delay the game.
Play the game, you know.
Well, I'm trying to pull up the poll results, but while we do that, I just wanted to let people know that there is a document at bluejackets.com/hockey for her that lists all the basic rules of the game. And the poll results are this. Nick, I might make you answer this. Okay. I know you had officials come in a couple years ago when this changed. People wanted to understand the rules around the face-offs and when you get thrown off and the counting and all of that. Can you explain those rules to the attendees?
Yeah, because I have a great view of when Boone gets kicked out 75% of the game. So basically the face-off guidelines say that there's this red circle, obviously, and there's these white, and it's hard to see probably but there's these white little dots on either side, white little half moons almost on either side. And what you're supposed to do is the defensive forward centerman is supposed to put his stick down first and not move. And then the offensive forward is supposed to put his stick down in that little white area. And then about a second later, the ref will drop the puck. What a lot of times happens is as soon as everyone's always trying to cheat. So a lot of times what will happen is the guy will go to, put his stick down. The other guy will move quickly. Then the ref puts his hand out and kicks the guy out. So you see a lot of these, she didn't even probably understand it for a while. She's like, why do they keep getting up and moving around? And then also as wingers, you can't really be inside the circles either. There's little hash marks that you have to stay outside of. And if you drift in, the ref can kick you out as well, which makes the centerman have to come out. So it is probably confusing for a first-time fan. For us, for a while, it was confusing trying to get our understanding of, okay, first guy down, can't move. I remember the first time it came in, there was a lot of penalties in that first exhibition season. And it was driving guys crazy because we didn't understand, you couldn't move. Now we've gotten it, but it's come back to cheating so much that usually the best players are, the ones that can cheat the best out of the best face-off guys. So you have to work your way. I always tell that to our young guys. I'm like, you're never going to get a call. Patrice Bergeron or, a guy who's been in the league for 14, 15, 16 years, he's going to get all the favoritism. So just work your way up and pray that you can snap a few back. But it is a confusing rule, but I think it helps. Honestly, I think it helps create a little bit more offense actually, because in the defensive zone, you really don't have the advantage of trying to cheat. They really make you as a defensive forward, put your stick down and keep it there. And it gives the advantage to the offensive team. So now you have some chances to play in the offensive zone more.
Awesome. Well, we want to make sure we make the most of our time. And we said, this is hockey for her. So we've talked hockey. Now we have to talk women around hockey. And Natalie, I'll ask this to you first. If as we women walk into a rink, we don't necessarily see a lot of women outside of the stands. And what do you think we, be it fans, be it organizations, be it the league, can do or should do to give more opportunity to increase the presence of women in and around the sport of hockey?
I actually think when you played in that all-star game where they had the
Kendall,
Women's
right?
Hockey League players.
Yeah.
Which one was that?
2 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, in San Jose. It was just so cool to like see them on the ice and with the guys too. Like Cam was so nervous he was going to get matched up against one of them and he was going to lose. So I think like involving maybe, you know, the women's league more in other events and even like throughout the season, I think that would be really cool and maybe a way to interest more women.
Janelle, how about for you? You do have a daughter coming up and, you know, there's that saying, what you see, you think you can become. How do we show our young women, our young girls that there is a spot for them in this sport outside of maybe just watching the game as a fan? And how do we see it happen, actually?
Nick and I have had this conversation in the past as we've, you know, even as I was watching some of the pregame stuff, they were interviewing some women hockey players. And so it sparked some conversation and just seeing, like Nat said, those women in those positions, whether it be on the ice or behind the bench. Nick and I have talked about like having women in coaching positions, and you see them a lot in announcer positions now too. And you can really hear that they obviously know a lot about the game. And for me, and hopefully for the young girls too, you can aspire to be like that, or, you know, you understand that it's not just the men who know what they're talking about when it comes to sports. There's so many women who do. And I think it's becoming more and more common, and hopefully it trends in that direction than it used to be. Even when you first came in the league, I don't even remember a lot of female faces, but you know, and that goes with any sport and just any job even. So just to up and lift ourselves up as women to aspire to be anything regardless of gender.
Natalie, to that point, you know, this is an issue outside of just hockey. What is your advice to young women, be it in hockey or maybe they're aspiring to something where maybe doors aren't opening as readily as they'd expect? How can we stay strong? How can we push through to cement our place as women, wherever we want to be, regardless of if it's been predominantly men or another majority in the past?
Yeah, I mean, Cam and I have talked about this. I've actually always loved the CBA and as an attorney. And I told Cam, like, I would have loved to be like an agent, like a sports agent, even though it's like a male dominated field. I think that having a woman's perspective and, you know, just because there aren't a lot of women doesn't mean women can't do it. And just being a trailblazer and, you know, just whatever you want, you should just go for.
Cam, are you going to be changing agents to Natalie Atkinson?
I would hire.
I pay a lot less percentage wise. Yeah, but no, I was going to kind of joke around what Janelle said about when Nick, you guys talked about it. I was going to say back in the 1900s when Nick came into the league. I mean, I'll just piggyback off what the girl said. And obviously it's all about opportunity, right? So I think girls deserve a lot more opportunity and a lot more face time. And I'd much rather have a lady coach than torts. But yeah, I think that's what it all comes down to at the end of the day. It's just more opportunity. And I think you've kind of seen it over the course of the last couple of years, especially like Nat said at the All-Star game. You know, you see girls obviously on NBC Sports doing interviews and play-by-play and stuff like that. And I think it's going to continue to grow. And I think it's only a matter of time before we see, you know, lady coaches.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Excellent. Natalie made a great point, and Janelle, I'd love your thoughts on this. What can women's perspective, and I even hate stereotyping it that way, but what can women's perspective bring to some of these roles that have been historically male dominated? We've heard about coach, we've heard about agent, but have there been times, and I'm not asking for specifics, but you know, I think a woman might have been able to see this a little more fully or a little bit differently to handle that situation?
Yeah, that is a great question. I feel like women and men naturally, I think a little bit differently. And maybe that's a generalization, but just comparing even you and I, like women are, you know, whether they're a mother or a sister or a caretaker or daughter, like they just have a lot of perspectives that obviously men just don't have because they've never been in our shoes. And so they can bring that maybe a little bit more of a nurturing side. And actually my cousin and I often talk about something, we call them surrounding thoughts. And so like a woman in general, I think has to have a lot more awareness, just the way the world has gone. We have to be a little bit more aware of everything that goes on around us. And so translating that in different parts of our lives, whether it's in coaching or consulting or anything like that, like we have these surrounding thoughts where like a situation happens, but you think about everything that surrounds that and how it can affect you and how it can affect other people around you. Whereas I think just the way the world has gone, men can just kind of flow through a little bit easier than women do. So we have those maybe surrounding thoughts that might not have been thought about by a man maybe. So it just brings that little bit different perspective.
This may be a loaded question. I'll ask Cam and Nick. So many things, not just hockey, but are merit-based, right? It's very rare that you come right into the NHL. You work your way up through a minor league or a development league. When we talk about women taking positions of leadership or positions of power, we do see some women's skills coaches with some teams. We do have some female agents. Do you think women are going to have to follow that same developmental path to be respected? Or do you think they're going to be able to jump in at certain levels? How is that change going to be accepted, or what do we have to do to make that change be respected?
Well, sorry if I'm jumping you, Cam, but I just think like anything, I think a lot of times grassroots has to start there, and that's really where the change happens. And Jen and I really, especially having a daughter, it's amazing how my mind's changed. I'll be honest with you. She's right. I think a lot of times you think in a different way, but now as a father of a girl, it's opened my eyes up to so many things that she has to go through that I never even thought of, and that's one of them is, whatever opportunity that she wants, is it there for her at a grassroots level? Is it there for her at an age where she can learn something where I had it when I was, 3 years old? Or is it normal? Is there other girls around that she can gravitate to? Is that even a possibility? So I think for us to start seeing management, coaches, I want to start seeing it at a level where who cares what the age or what the demographics is of the kids? Is it a female coach? Wonderful. And can we get it into colleges? Can we get it into junior hockey and grow it from there? Because if it becomes normal from there, look how it's working in the world. If it becomes normal there, they grow up with it. And now it's normal as an adult. And it's becoming, look at the way our grandparents used to think, our parents used to think, look how we think. So that's where I think the change has to start coming from. And I really hope that I can help be part of that as I've become more educated, as we've all become more educated. And I'm really looking forward to that. So, it'll be really interesting to see if we can put some sort of program in place. There's coaches clinics all over the world. My dad being a coach, I see all these coaches clinics, and I would love to, I actually asked him, are there women that attend? He goes, very, very few,
Mm-hmm.
And I said, it's disappointing because I'm sure there's an incredible amount of women coaches that, should have that opportunity. Or do you start off with just a women's coaches clinic? It's brought on by the NHL. And so they can understand the mindset. And I just said I get it. The NHL is a man league. Like it's men and but a hockey mind doesn't matter what sex you are, and look at you're living proof. You see the game through your analytics and the way you see the game, so different from me and anyone else. And no, you have it's a brilliant way of looking at the game. It really is. That's why Cam and I don't really enjoy talking to a lot of the media. We actually enjoy talking to you.
Thank you.
You look at the game.
Checks in the mail.
And you must feel it. You must look around the room and feel it, right? And I think that's so important for you to start having to be able to look around the room and see more women and have those really incredible questions being asked again, and have that, because it's so engaging. And you make us sometimes look at the game a lot differently. When you start breaking down things, I'm like, my God, that is insane. Or I'm way better than I was told, So I really do. And I know I went on a tangent, but I really hope that we can start getting in the grassroots and actually have the right people putting programs in place. I think that's where it starts. There has to be a selflessness again of our league, us as players, trying to figure out ways to get that done, because I think it's only going to make it shouldn't scare anybody. It's going to make our game better, and that's what I want. I think that's what everyone wants. And, I get that maybe you're not going to see a girl playing. Maybe we are one day going to see a girl playing in the NHL. I don't know if that ever happens, but there should be coaches. There should be management at the very least. And, I don't think anyone can argue with hockey minds. And like I said, there should be no discrimination on that.
And Cam, before you talk, I'll give you kudos too. You've had members of the Ohio State women's team out at Battery Hockey, leading clinics, leading drills, and I think that's been incredible. Any thoughts you'd like to add on growing diversity, maybe not even just women, but diversity across the board in the game?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to, obviously, Nick, everything you said was spot on. But like I keep saying, it's all about opportunity. And I think people adapt pretty quickly, no matter what their circumstances, especially if something is, you're not familiar with something. So I mean, I would assume that if there was a girl coach, it might be a little different, obviously, or weird at first, but like I said, people adapt. I think people really embrace it. I mean, you're seeing it at all different professional sports, NBA, NFL, obviously college sports, March Madness. I mean, you're seeing it all over. So I think it's only a matter of time before you see it all, obviously in the NHL, and obviously the trickle down effect in the AHL and college and juniors and that sort of thing. But, obviously at the Battery, I think that's one of the most important things that we've tried to bring into the facility, is just opportunity. And there's so many little girls that are just trying to figure out how to skate. I mean, obviously your best friend, Natalie.
Her little girl's doing a learn to skate.
Yeah. And she didn't know how to skate at all. And then, she's sending us videos within a week. And it's all about repetition. And the more you get on the ice, obviously the better you're going to be. That's like what it's like in any sport. But it's just getting the girls and, getting whoever out there on the ice and, giving them confidence and making them feel good about themselves, and just repetition. I think the more opportunities, the more people get excited about it. And I mean, that's what it's all about.
Awesome. Well, before we wrap up, we do have a prize to announce, but I want to give the women on this call the last word. Natalie, to you first. Again, we have so many participants on the Zoom call tonight, people who know hockey at so many different levels. What are your words of encouragement to people who are growing in their love and their following of the game, particularly if they are maybe someone who's not a white male?
I mean, I will say, I'm not really a sports fan. I'm more of a reality TV fan. So, but I've watched apparently over 600 hockey games. So, as you just continue to watch and enjoy it, I mean, hockey is just such a cool, fast-paced sport. And I definitely have grown to love it. I'm a Florida girl, so I definitely never thought I'd marry a hockey player, but here we are.
Here we are.
I guess just keep watching and enjoying, and just, it's fun to learn. And I'm still learning rules. I mean,
same.
The forecheck and back check still confuses me.
That's because you never see Cam back check. Watch me and you'll understand.
Janelle, what words of encouragement do you have for our fellow female fans who might be on the call tonight?
Yeah, just to echo what Nat said, and also finding like-minded, you mentioned it, finding like-minded women and coming together with them and discovering the game more, building that camaraderie together. And it's fun. We have it with the wives and the girlfriends, where that's, nobody else knows that life or the hockey the way that we do as a group. And so you can find your friend groups or different, groups of women together where you can enjoy that together. And it's something different than maybe any of your other friend groups. And you can go to games together and just never stop learning and watching, I guess. I'm still learning and watching. And I remember his mom, before she passed, saying to me, because she was a hockey wife too. And she told me, you'll never escape it. It will be on all the time. It will be talked about all the time. This is a hockey family. And so just really being surrounded by it and learning from it. And that's for anybody, any fan that can participate in that. And it's just so fun. Like it's different than anything else. And I feel anyways, different than any other sport you watch. Like Nat said, it's fast paced, and just being able to watch that and have fun and energy in the building or at home, or when you're watching from a restaurant or something in previous times, but making the most of it and hopefully growing it from there.
I have a real quick story. I know we got to go, but speaking of my mom, this sums up, I think, hockey for her and my mom. So my brother, my sisters, and I all played hockey at one point in our lives, and my dad was coaching. And so in the morning, my brother had a game my mom went to. My dad had a game that night, so he wasn't around. My sisters played in like the early afternoon, so she went to that game. I played right before my dad's game at the arena and my dad's game at night. So she was in the arena the whole day. And I'll never forget, we got home from my dad's game. We left around the second period, and she like, we're older. So she goes, all right. And we're like, just get in the door. We're dropping our stuff. She's like, all right, I'm pouring myself a glass of wine, and I don't want to see anyone till tomorrow. And she shut her door, and we didn't see her. And so, yeah, the lady that lived it, breathed it, still needed her time away from it. But I mean, she absolutely loved it. And it's just, it's a testament to her and obviously the game.
And just the hockey moms. I think there might be some hockey moms on the call too. Like, I'm starting to see it. Our son Landon plays, and it's his first year, so we're really not in the rink all that much, but we'll see some of these moms and dads that are in the rink, like Nick said, all day. They're taking, 3 of their kids, running them around and stuff. And so it's awesome to see that people are fostering this love of hockey too.
Absolutely.
I mean, I think the biggest fans in our families are your mom, your grandma, my mom now too. I mean, they're sending us like tweets about like they think they have all the NHL gossip. I mean, it's so fun. So
they're all GMs at the end of the day.
They are, yeah.
But yeah, they're definitely our biggest supporters. I grew up with 5 brothers, and obviously we have 2 young kids, and Nick and Janelle have their 3 kids as well. But we're not quite at that age yet where we're traveling with them. But I don't know how our parents, Nick, were able to just. I mean, able to travel to this game and that game, and luckily I was able to play up with one of my older brothers, but I mean, it's just, I don't know how they did it. It's
because women are saints.
Yeah, I guess women rule the world.
There it is.
Yeah.
With Celine Dion, all those 3-hour car rides, listen to this.
Oh my God.
Oh, Nick. Well, with that, we will bring this session to a close.
Great. Thank you so much, Alison. And, that hour flew by so fast. Like, I just want to keep chatting with everyone. I even learned a couple of things and heard some fun stories. So
I like that story about your mom.
Oh, yeah. It was actually a bottle of wine. It wasn't a glass.
Yeah, she sounds like my kind of girl.
I love it. Well, I hope that our attendees enjoyed the last hour and hearing from our guests. Hope they even learned a little bit about hockey. I know the rules of our game sometimes can trip people up. So thank you for all of that. So on behalf of the organization, I'd once again like to say thank you to our moderator, Alison, Lukan, our special guests, Nick and Janelle Foligno, our cameo guests, Natalie and Cam Atkinson. Thank you all for your time this evening. And of course, thank you to our partner, Meyers Jewelers. So, whether you're a new fan or a hockey expert, thank you to all of our attendees for sharing the last hour with us as we celebrate women in hockey. And we can't wait to be able to do this again in person. So everybody stay safe and go Jackets.